The NFL stands for not for long.
Offset, Sharga and Armstead. Roll out, Walker still running out. Looks to the left, wide open, Thompson touchdown. Colin Thompson with the touchdown. There was nobody within 20 yards of him.
What a catch off the bobble. Colin Thompson scoops it up.
Lofting corner, the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. The first NFL touch for Colin Thompson is a score.
Hey guys, hope everybody's doing great. Welcome back to another edition of the Colin Thompson Show, presented by our friends at Boron Arnicare, a natural homeopathic approach to managing allergy season, managing your pain. I always talk about how much it's been important for my pain relief in my hands, my low back. And again, it comes from a flower. It's natural pain relief, homeopathic care. Check them out. Boron Arnicare, the friend, the sponsor of the Colin Thompson Show and Not For Long Media. I hope everyone is having a great week. We have a special treat today. Alex Anzalone will be joining the show. A friend, a former teammate at the University of Florida. Alex is a stud linebacker in the NFL. I think he's one of the best linebackers in the NFL. He's a guy who's, I don't know if he's made a Pro Bowl. I don't think he has, but he's consistently up for the Pro Bowl. He deserves to be in one. If he has, I apologize, Alex. But this is a guy who's super tough, who runs well. He's the blonde, long-haired guy that plays middle linebacker for Detroit that everybody knows about now because Detroit is on the map, is on the national stage. So Alex was fantastic, gracious with his time. Him and Lindsay were friends from college. I recruited, quote-unquote, recruited Alex to Florida hard as the kid from Pennsylvania on the team. All the recruiting coordinators and the head coach looked at me and said, hey, we want this linebacker from Pennsylvania who's tearing up, playing running back, linebacker, everything. And Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, they're all over him. And they deployed me hard to recruit him, and dinners with his parents and taking him out. And he's just a great guy. He's a great dad, a family man, man of faith, and a great player who I was fortunate enough to play against a little bit in the NFL when I was with Carolina and New Orleans. I played against him, I think, twice, maybe 3 times, 4 times. Depends on the year. I don't know. They all run together. And I know he was off to Detroit with Dan Campbell, but a great competitor and a guy who had some injuries, very similar to my career in college, where he was battling through them. They were shoulder injuries, and I'll get into when I was there when he did his first shoulder injury right in front of my face. I mean, 3-4 yards from me. Seeing Alex's career right start, you think it's going down the tubes. A linebacker with shoulder injuries, and then boom, the career he's had in the league, and his attention to detail and the sacrifices he makes to have success are just unbelievable. And it brought me great joy to have him on, honestly. It was great to just text him after, and I'll be up front and honest. Like, it was emotional talking to him because, stuff that we don't even revisit a lot. This is a long time ago now. 2012, I was a Florida Gator, over 10 years now. He was there in 2013. And these are old stories, you never really come up. You're talking about them every couple of years with people, and then something happens and you're on to the next thing because you got kids and family and friends. So for me, someone who's out of the locker room right now, out of a building, out of an NFL facility, and just absolutely dying to get back into one. Of course, for the play and all, and people think it's for money. No, it's not. It's for what I just had with Alex on this interview. It's just the BS. I wish our 20 minutes before the interview could get recorded because that's where the real gold is. But until we're done playing, I guess we can't talk about that stuff. For me, I think you guys will really enjoy the episode. I'm going to get it. We're going to send that over here in a little bit. I got a few things I'm going to get into, but he's just a good dude, and I'm really happy for his success in the league. That's a team that wants to win a Super Bowl, that's ready to win a Super Bowl, that's built to win a Super Bowl. The confidence, the swagger, the talent, everything checks the box. Home field advantage, indoor stadium, they got it. So excited for Detroit, excited for Dan Campbell. I was with him in a mini camp, and those 3 days I was with him changed my life as a tight end, really, truly. The way I roll my hips blocking now, all these different things, and nerded out. A lot of it's from Dan Campbell and just a 3-day mini camp. That's it, really 2.5 days, right? It's not even that long. You only have like 5 meetings and 4 individual drills, and that's it. So massive fan of Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions organization for multiple reasons. Lots going on in the NFL to touch on a few things. We'll do a little NFL stuff. Eagles play the Packers in Brazil. That's awesome. I mean, what a great draw for the entire world that's going to be watching that game, not just, the United States. Even though the NFL is a global business, it's not as much as maybe the NBA or let's say the NHL. But globally, it's pretty cool to see the NFL growing. I love it. I love it as a player. I think it's awesome. Like, take yourself out of like all the travel and the drama and all that stuff. It's like, no, this is sick. I get to play in Brazil. Like, when would that opportunity come up? That only happens like in the Premier League. You get to do that stuff where you play like in London, England, then you play in the States, and then you play in like, wherever. China, you're playing in Middle East. Like, that's like Formula One type stuff. But to do that in football, American football, one of the most profitable, busiest, craziest sports in the world that I was blessed to be a part of for a short period of time, really unique and really cool. And the NFL did it right. Like, let's pick 2 franchises that are big, that have big brands, and the fans will travel there. You bet your bottom dollar you're going to hear Eagles chants. You're going to see the Cheeseheads with the Packers. So that's some news that came out. I think that's really cool. Thank God the draft is almost here, because I'm so sick of all these people talking about players and combines and did they participate in the combine? Did they participate in a 40? Oh, their 40 was better at their pro day than the combine. Well, no crap, it was, right? Like, stuff like that. I just think it's all drama BS. I think what Marvin Harrison did was genius. He's staying in football shape, because guess what? When you're drafted, you go right into minicamp, you go right into practice, and you got to run. And before that, you're doing short shuttles and cone drills and all this BS you'll never do again, ever, ever. I never ran a 40 again once I played in the NFL. My 40 time was irrelevant. It was like 4.9950. Thank God I run better now. High 4.7s, low 4.8s. But like at that time, this like big burly blocking tight end like I was, it was like a black eye on me. But now, once you play and get in the league, like literally it gets erased. It's over. So this draft combine stuff is all hype, and I get it for these guys. It's a big deal. But at the end of the day, like, once you get into the league, it doesn't matter anymore, and you perform, and that's what gets you paid, period. Nothing else. You can act like a fool as long as you're not breaking the law and you're respectful. You could be the most serious guy in the building. You could show up hungover. I don't suggest it, but I'm saying you could show up hungover. You can show up either sober, you could show up whatever. But the bottom line in the NFL is production. No one cares in that league as long as you treat your teammates well and you play well, period. How you handle yourself outside the building, hey, everybody hopes it's well, but that's not the case, and that's how society is too. So I know I'm off the rails a little bit, but just guys taking you guys into the locker room of how these things work, because nobody cares, man. Nobody cares about the drama. No one cares about the stuff coming out about quarterbacks painting nails. Like, no one cares. Like, no one cares. So I digress. Lastly, bar of the week this week on the Colin Thompson Show, brought to you by the Original Fudge Kitchen. They ship fudge and sweet treats across the country. FudgeKitchens.com. The Jetty in Kent Island, Maryland. What a great spot. Great little spot. Went there after the boat show this weekend and swung over to have some food and some orange crushes and see the live music. And it's right on the water, and they have all the garage doors that open up. This place is like a speck on top of a little pier, and it's right out, right into the Chesapeake. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful back creeks there. All the boats are starting to get in the water. It's that time of year here. The service was great. That was a 5 out of 5. The drinks were cold, and give them a 4 out of 5. I didn't see any TVs. Give them a 3 out of 5. And the service was awesome. It was just a cool environment. The food and ambiance was fantastic. 5 out of 5. So just an awesome all around great spot. If you're cruising through outside of Annapolis or heading towards the Bay Bridge, the Jetty, the bar this week on the Colin Thompson Show. Awesome, awesome spring, summer, fall place to get some orange crushes, hang out in the patio, the piers, the bar. You can't beat it. Check it out, the Jetty. All right, guys, that's it for me. I want to send it over to Alex Anzalone. Like I said, a friend, a long-time friend, some guy that I've known for a really long time now, 2012, 2011. I watched him in high school. And, you guys get it. You've been around friends for a long time you haven't seen maybe. And you get back together, even if it's virtual, and you get some good smiles and some good laughs and some good memories. And I think you guys will enjoy this one. Alex Anzalone, Detroit Lions linebacker. All right, an old friend joining the show, Alex Anzalone. How you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good. Maybe when we're retired, everything we just talked about for 20 minutes off air we could talk about. But it was good. There's a lot going on in the business of the NFL, talking about different players in the league, all the good stuff. Okay, where are you at? I know you're home, Tampa area, Clearwater area.
Yep.
How's the off season going? How's the family doing?
It's good. It's good. I finished the season a little banged up. Had 3 broken ribs, and it was it was a long season. We played 20 games plus, not including the preseason, and which is a good thing. Obviously, that means you've gone far in the playoffs. But so I took some time off, and I'm starting to get into like the meat of training now, and I do that in the morning, and then I come home and I'm dad in the afternoon.
I love it, man. Yeah, this is the fun part of the off season where you take that time off. I hate the come back in part. Like whatever. I know I don't have the right term for it right now, but the progression from going from like I'm just being a normal person, not like running around like a nut job, loading my back up, whatever that is, squatting, cleaning, deadlifting, sprinting, being rigid. So that part is like all the volume to get back, and then now in the power phase, I'm moving along probably in the similar things with you, like change of direction stuff now. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
sick of it.
oh my God, dude. I you know what though? I love training, and the older I've gotten, I like training by myself. I do.
Yeah.
I really do. My wife's like, Sid's like crazy. You're nuts. I'm like, she loves doing like group stuff, CrossFit, running clubs. I'm like, it's my time. I'm not time to myself. Are you the same way? Are you like, I mean, I know you train with Yo.
Yeah. I train with Yo Murphy, and I'm at the point now where I kind of have my own workout. But I'm like within a group, but I'm not in a group. So, if I want to talk to someone, I can. But if, like you said, you want to be by yourself. And, I kind of like, kind of playing like mind games with myself of, just pushing myself, not having to see someone else do it. It's just a different type of internal motivation rather than, he's doing it, so I'm going to do it.
Which is what the pro football is anyways. Like,
right. Exactly.
College is the opposite. College is like, someone missed breakfast, we're all going to
like, you know how it is.
We're climbing the steps at the swamp. I'll never forget it. I don't know if you were there yet. And for those that don't know, and I'll explain this all before, Alex and I went to University of Florida together. I was heavily involved with trying to get Alex to Florida. As coming from 2 Pennsylvania guys, we talked all the time, parents, the whole nine. Alex's wife and I were friends. Before Alex and I got to town, the soccer team's fantastic, great people. But I'm trying to think. Were you there when we had to walk the swamp?
I mean, I remember doing that.
We had to walk it. You weren't allowed to run the stadium.
You had to walk. Yeah, because they didn't want anyone to fall or something.
Well, they wanted everyone's legs to burn out.
That too. I just remember so many dawn patrols that we would have as a group. Like, I just remember we'd have to go in a huge circle and have to be in like a air squat, and hold it and pass along the 45-pound plate till it made it all the way around. And if someone dropped it, you have to start over. Just some ridiculous stuff.
Temple was way different than Florida.
Really?
Yeah. Coach Rule and the way they ran their shop. Now, again, different type of player now. Different kids you're dealing with. And honestly, we have almost the same amount of pros, if not more, that we had in our Gator run. Crazy with Dawkins and Reddick and like crazy group. Kirkwood, you played with Keith. But dude, a lot of stuff. My favorite one ever. I'm not going to name any names of Florida, but there's a certain player that wouldn't gain weight, and they made him on a dawn patrol in the morning. I don't know if you know who this person is. 100%.
Keep going.
And they put him on the end of the turf by himself, and he didn't do a workout, but they put a whole bag of breakfast sandwiches from McDonald's, and they couldn't leave until he ate all the breakfast sandwiches. He was a you know who we're talking about?
I don't know.
I can tell the story. It was Ken Taylor.
Oh my God.
Ken couldn't gain weight, so they made him sit at the end and finish the breakfast sandwich. It's not cruel and unusual punishment, folks.
Yeah.
It's normal college. Everyone calm down. But yeah, Kent wanted to be, lean and mean, but
right, he wanted to be an underwear model.
Yeah, he did. We couldn't have been two. I love Kent too. And I saw him in Tampa not too long ago. He's great, but we couldn't have been two more opposite individuals.
Right.
Let's get back into we could do this all day. I guess let's say Florida first interaction was what? I think Friday Night Lights. I remember coming up to you wearing Notre Dame gloves. Took them off.
Yeah. No, I didn't. No way.
Yeah, I have them. I still have the gloves.
Oh, maybe I did, but I was committed there at the time. I was committed to Notre Dame, right?
Yes, and you came in Friday Night Lights wearing those gloves.
I was in Orlando. I know that for the some rivals camp,
No, it was Friday Night Lights in the Swamp.
I'm saying that's why I was down there.
Oh,
And
okay.
then they were I think they were trying to get me. Florida was trying to get me to come, just like, hey, come for Friday Night Lights, like no big deal. I'm like, no, I'm committed to Notre Dame. It's like that type of deal. And that I was like, finally, okay, I'll go. And I guess I had my Notre Dame gloves.
I had them. I either gave them to you or sent me, or I don't know. I had them in a bag for a while, like as a joke. I'm like, my son's like, what are you doing with these? I'm like, don't throw them out. They sit in some box.
Hey, you could burn them now. I don't care.
Yeah. I thought it was a good joke. I'm like, I'm going to give them to Alex one day as a joke.
Right.
Why Gainesville? Let's go back, because I knew why for me. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
I mean, coming from Pennsylvania, it was everything. You're like, this is great. This is a football mecca. That was right after all the national championship eras with Urban and Muschamp. We were winning. The defenses were sick. Like, you're the perfect guy for really any defense in college football. But with Dan Quinn and Durkin and like Muschamp, like it was a pretty sick spot.
Yeah. So I'll start here. I think so. My dad went to medical school at University of Florida. So growing up, I grew up a huge Gator fan, which is unique for Eastern Pennsylvania.
Yep.
So anyways, and that kind of had that background. My mom's parents, so my grandma and grandpa, lived in Hernando, which is like an hour away from Gainesville. I had uncle and cousins in Orlando. My dad's parents moved to Crystal River when he was a junior in high school from New York. So it wasn't like so random. I had family around there, and I grew up, visiting Orlando and seeing all the Gator stuff around Florida, and never actually went, but that was kind of the background of it leading into my recruiting. So fast forward, I remember getting my, Florida was probably my first big time offer. I had like Rutgers and Boston College and Northwestern and those types of schools, but Florida was, I think, my first big time offer. I just remember getting off the phone with them and like being amazed. And, obviously going through the recruiting process, and, you feel conveyed to go certain places. And I kind of got caught up into the academics and tradition of Notre Dame and, that whole ordeal.
And remember, folks listening, Eastern
Yeah. Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Everyone's a Notre Dame fan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, it's like either Irish Catholics or it was on ABC, your parents' TV as kids. Like,
yeah,
it's not the South where the brands of like Bama, LSU, Florida. We knew they were good, but like you just, I don't know, like Penn State and like Notre Dame and Michigan, maybe.
Notre Dame. Yeah, that's what it is. Penn State and Notre Dame. And, so I committed there. But to me, like looking back on it, every time I visited Florida, it always felt like home, and just like I just felt there. I don't know how else to explain it. And you probably got the same feeling, but you just, when and it was kind of like I was ignoring the emotional and, that type of, I was just looking at too like logical. Anyway,
but I think we are similar in that way. We come from great households. We're very fortunate for that. That, like, you see guys that we play with that don't come from those situations, and you see the advantage we have, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And like our parents talk just about like value of education, and you can't play football forever. And like, right. Like, we're very fortunate, like Eastern PA, it's like, we're very blessed. So I was ready to go to Notre Dame too. And they never offered.
Yeah. Maybe you would have.
I visited, wasn't my cup of tea, dude. Bad weather.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like, it's South Bend, Indiana. There's not a lot. There's nothing there. I went out with some guys. And that was when they, my buddy Manti was, going off, and it was that huge year that they had. So there's a lot of hype around there. And I remember going out, with some of the kids of the football players after a game. I was like, what do you guys do for fun? And they're like, I was like, didn't you guys just win a huge game? And anyways, but to talk about Florida, I think that, academically, it's obviously now it's like the number one public university. Yeah. But at that time it was top 10 and continue to move up. So it was a great education. And obviously I knew about it from my dad, but then you talk about the football aspect and, playing the SEC. If you could play there, you can, obviously play in the NFL, and that was the ultimate goal. And, guys like Dan Quinn and Coach Muschamp were, heavily involved in my recruitment, and it just felt like home every time I went. And, kudos to you and credit to you that, every time I visited or when I did visit, you made me more comfortable to make that decision because, a Pennsylvania guy going to University of Florida in the SEC, it's definitely not, it's not viewed as an easy transition.
No doubt. Shout out to McGriff and all the rest of the guys that we would drag you out with and we didn't sneak. Not that we ever would sneak into a bar or do any of that stuff, but we had fun and we had a great time. And I say this, and I had Brett Myers, Phillies pitcher, on yesterday, and his son's going there to play baseball.
Oh wow,
dude, it's a mecca to be a student athlete there. Like,
Penn
State's sick and all, and I'm not a Penn State fan, but I value the place. But it's Penn State with palm trees and pools, and you're 2 hours from drive from Tampa, Orlando, Jax, everything's right there. Like, it was. I wish I would have stayed. I wish I would have stayed healthy. I have a million regrets, but I didn't want to leave. I kicked and screamed my way out, and it would have been sick to go on the ride and be a part of the core. And there's so many guys that went, and honestly, a lot of us from that group have way better NFL careers than college careers. Some guys are on par, like a Dante Fowler, but a lot of us, dude, you're one of the best linebackers in the NFL. I remember the first day of Florida. I remember one of our first practice, spring practice. My feet were always a mess. I could barely even move. I was I remember being crying after, I can't even my feet are on fire. I'm literally
I just remember all the orthotics you had to wear and all that crap.
Dude, it was horrible. Just to go through it. And then boom, I came out my 2016. I finally was feeling good again. And a little before that, but 2014, 15, 16 got better. And then way better in the NFL in 2020. I feel like $1 million. And I feel better now than ever. But I remember vividly, we were doing a one-on-one tackling drill, an old school tackling drill. And dude, bang, your shoulder went. I'm he's either you're either tough and something's wrong, or he's he's a freshman scared half to death.
Yeah.
And you don't know. We're all just getting to know each other. It's one thing to know each other outside of football. Obviously, you're a dude and you weren't faking it, of course. But I'm it's a shoulder, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that was it for you, man. Your journey from that though, that's brutal. And they kept happening to you. Take me a little bit into that. I know there's deep dark places there.
It's a reality, and it's kind of cool looking back on it now, looking where I'm at and going into year 8 in the NFL. I feel like it's definitely a story to tell. I don't think it's something I don't want to talk about, but so it was doing that stupid. We were 7 yards apart from each other on different in a box.
Pete White was running the drill.
Yeah, it wasn't make a move. It's all right, you guys are good to tackle. First day of pads in spring practice. And I try to make a tackle, and all of a sudden I'm oh, I go to the ground and I'm I got a cramp in my deltoid. I've never felt this before. And I get up and I'm I can't move my arm. So then obviously I'm sitting there, I'm standing in line, and I'm something's not right. So I obviously they had to put my shoulder back in. I had to get surgery, and I was actually able to be ready for training camp. Somehow be ready for training camp 5 months later after labor surgery.
Training camps were wars. There.
Yeah. And
that was a war.
Looking back on it, if I had a son, I probably would advise against that. Or I do have a son, but in that situation.
Yeah.
But anyways, fast forward to the end of the year, you kind of get as a freshman, you don't really know. You're kind of learning how to train and get rehab and do all these things. You really don't know that much. And I probably got a little lazy with my maintenance program. And, the second to last game, I ended up playing. I think we're playing Georgia Southern. And I ended up dislocating my shoulder again. I'm what the hell? So anyways, a few years after that, do it again. It's just kind of a reoccurring thing. And my rookie year in the NFL, I finally got it fixed. Probably the way I should have from the beginning. But yeah, it was definitely a daunting, and you can relate as far as dealing with the same injury over and over again. It gets you into a headspace that's really hard to deal with, but you also learn a lot about yourself, and whether that's spiritually, whether that's emotionally or physically. I'm looking back, I'm so glad I went through it, because it's corny. It sounds like cliche, but I really wouldn't be the person I am today. And, how I deal with adversity now, just throughout life with kids and, being a dad and, marriage and life and paying taxes. You know what I mean? It's just like you learn so much in those situations, and that's really, a blessing in the end.
Large part of my show has turned into like, the normal texts and the normal calls, because mentor's a word, but I try to help a lot of kids get recruited, or I just have a bunch of my buddies are in college, right? So I just text them, hey, this kid, here's a little bit about him. And the parents want to know like different things. And I'm like, so I just turned a lot of our show into that. Like, you should be playing multiple sports. You should be, doing all this different things. So, it's the best thing for you, right? I don't have any regrets. I think I would have done a couple things a little differently, but I don't have any regrets in the sense that it's made me man I am today. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Before we move on to the NFL stuff here, the Swamp is an incredible place. And being a middle linebacker, man, you're the man. It's loud. It's not quiet. You're firing the crowd up. You played with some unbelievable players.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that left before you were unbelievable. Sharif Floyd, Dom. I mean, actually, you played with Dom. But Sharif and Renton McCray, and I got to see these guys, and I was like, "There's no way I can't play at this level. There's no way." My first practice, I'm like, "Thank God my foot's broken." Like, no shot, dude. I'm like, I'm not going to make it. And then I watched the LSU Florida game. That was Odell, Landry,
2012.
2012.
That was one of my visits. It was a great visit.
What a visit, dude. I'm sitting on the sideline with a boot, like hurt, firing the crowd up. Like, that was like my thing. Like, I always like try to have some sort of impact. I'm like, there's no way I could play at this level. No shot. Because I saw Matt Elam like fold Odell in half. And then I saw like John Bostic like suplex a dude. I'm like, I'm done. Never gonna do it. Of course went on to play, but like, the Swamp's an incredible place. The atmosphere is incredible. I think it's the best atmosphere in college football.
Yeah, I would agree. And I talked to my guys that I play with now that went to Tennessee and LSU and Kentucky, and guys like in SEC East, and and they say the same thing. They say it's so hard to play in. The fans are right up against you. It's hot. It's loud. It's everything that you'd want especially as a defensive player to play in. And it's just the Gator Chomp. There's just like an aura around it that you can't describe without being there. And when in those years when we were before we got there, and even those first few years, 2012, 2013, it was definitely fun.
It was rocking. We played, and I'll add this too. The away team stays like down in Ocala to avoid like heckling fans. That's like 45 minutes away, folks. So the place gets rocking. The freshman year again, South Carolina came, or maybe it was the next year. No, South Carolina came to town 12, I believe.
Yeah, your freshman year, yeah.
Yep. And the first play of the game on offense for them, I think Lucha was like a pick six or whatever.
Yeah.
Loudest I ever heard anything in my entire life. Place is incredible.
Yeah.
The fans, there's no like levels. Everybody's on the first level. It's sick. Right?
Yeah.
We could go all day about it. You got to get back to dad stuff. But I want to transition to the NFL. I was taking the questions I asked you today. We're going to talk about Dan and Detroit, and just you guys are incredible. And I love watching you guys' team. And I'm friends with Craig Reynolds. I know a lot of guys on the team. Obviously, I watch you play all the time. But I want to touch on New Orleans too, because when I was in Carolina, I played you guys a ton. It was pretty cool. We go out there and cross and laugh and talk a little shit. And what a place. Like, you played for unreal, like successful, right? Detroit's on their way, right? And they are successful, but like city, two teams that like embrace the city, embrace like blue collar physicality, like physical players, like loud home field domes, like big dudes too. Like, teams are built differently. They are in the NFL. Some teams you play are absolutely just huge. AFC North. Those teams are big as shit. But like, New Orleans is like that too. Long DNs, run and hit linebackers. Like, just talk about that organization, because I know, it means a lot to you. They're the ones who took it. Dan Campbell's part of that organization too. Like, what's the similarities, what's the differences, between
Yeah.
cities and cultures and all that?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I think New Orleans could be like a country of its own. Just the culture, and you've been, and I'm sure a lot of people have been. That it's definitely to live there for 4 years. We have a lot of like family history. Obviously, that was our time there when Lindsay and I got married. My son Cooper was born there. Oshner Baptist downtown, and so there's a lot of like, even though I'm not there anymore, there's a lot of memories and good times, and there's no leaving there was not easy. But anyways, yeah, it's definitely like you said, how the city embraces the team as like a culture and identity of its own is definitely something that's unique to New Orleans and Detroit. Obviously, different cities and different cultures, but that whole aspect of a lot of hardworking, blue collar, people that live there, that just live and die. They're spending their last cents on a season ticket, and just to be a part and provide entertainment for people that care that much in New Orleans was so cool. And obviously, we were on a run when I first got there. I think they were like 7-9, 3 years in a row or 2 years or something like that. And our rookie class was insane and contributed right away. And year 2, going to the NFC Championship game, having the no call, and just the relationships that you were being able to play with Drew Brees is, first ballot Hall of Famer, just all around great person, and just all the people and friends and, that you come into contact with for 4 years. It's like going to college again. And, it was a lot of fun and a lot of, great memories. And, but every chapter has to come to a close. But, it sucks that we couldn't get a Super Bowl in that span.
Crazy. You guys were so good. And I was in Carolina towards the end of your guys' like big run there, like the COVID years and all. You guys were still good. It was like Drew's last year, I think.
Yeah.
But it was just cool to see. I don't know. I pinch myself. I don't know if you do. Like sometimes you're like, holy shit. Like now, you were a draft pick, all these different things. I was undrafted. Both of our careers were with injuries, like facing the end at some point in time, right? Like, well, we'll keep doing this.
Yeah.
But you ever pinch yourself like, holy shit? Like,
yeah.
I'm looking at X quarterback right in the eyes. Now I got to focus because the back's in motion. Like sometimes that happens to me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that my rookie year, especially, like, just getting there and, you go through rookie mini camp and it's just a bunch of people they invited and some
guys like me.
Yeah. There's some second year practice squad guys.
Yeah. You're like, damn it. Why am I here? I should be home right now for the weekend.
Exactly. I always used to empathize with those guys. I hated it. Anyways, yeah. And, you get to OTAs and, I get my 3rd round draft pick, so I'm going to be in with the 1s and 2s. And when I'm going against Drew and covering Alvin out of the backfield, who was a rookie with me, it's just like, you're like, holy shit. Like, this is insane. And it's like, you don't know how to like you're competing obviously in practice, but at the same time, it's like your mind is like somewhere else of, where am I right now? But yeah, is and then playing now, going after training camp and playing in game, and that was when like Adrian Peterson was on the team, Mark Ingram, and all these crazy legends that we had growing up. So yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I remember my second game of my career. We were playing New England at home, and obviously that was when Brady was in New England, and I just remember he mic pointed me, and I was like, he's talking to me. He's talking to me right now. And it was kind of interesting. Every time I played against him, which was that one time, and then
Tampa,
2 or 3. He was there 2020, I don't know when. Anyways, I think 1 year in 2020 he was in Tampa. After every game, he's gonna be like, "Oh, great game, Alex. Like, we call you by your name," and I always thought that was cool. So.
Yeah, he walked off the field after one of the games. Dude, my only highlight, I scored a touchdown against them, and I was, of course, jacked up. But I'm like, shit. I remember being on the sideline, being like, I scored a touchdown in the game, and Gronk didn't score a touchdown in the game. Like, what? Like, you're just trying to focus.
Yeah,
focus.
right.
Like, again, I'm in the XFL a couple months before that, right? Not that far. And of course, they ran the same play, like a sell it duo, where you just pop wide open.
Yeah.
and he scored on the same play in the same end zone. I was like, holy shit, power of the mind, man. I was thinking a bit, but I walked up the field and I reached out and shake Brady's hand, and he's like, hey, man, nice touchdown, great game. Nice to meet you. Keep going. I was like,
yeah,
holy shit, that's awesome. And I think the guys that do that, like the guys that are too cool, I'm like, you're a dope. I tell the tight ends that. I'm like, dude, stop. Enjoy it. Like, you could smell the roses in this league. I have no problem with that. Because at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. You got to perform. Like, you got to make tackles. You got to break tackles. And you got to, whatever, make kicks. Or
whatever.
It's a black and white league. All right, we got to get you out of here. Before we do, Dan Campbell. The guy changed my life in a 3-day mini camp in New Orleans. I remember seeing you, too. You were going rehab on a Friday. 2-a-day mini camps, dude.
Yeah, back in the day.
I loved it because all the guys were complaining. I'm like, this is great. They made me hang around and miss a couple of flights, and they end up not signing me. They signed Mike Burton. But
there you go.
Fullback. Yeah. So long story short, I'm a Dan fan. He was best tight end coach I've ever been around. Guys really, really good. Tell me about Detroit. Give me something, because I know you have all these roles in different hats. You're like mentoring these young backers. They're drafting high. You got Hutchinson. You got Jared Goff's a veteran. You got Dan Campbell. You got the city of Detroit. Like, it's just a cool. It's gotta be awesome, man.
Yeah, I would say like part of the I was played on 2 back-to-back 1-year deals, and when I signed my 3-year deal last year, I thought, like, going through free agency, you have other offers and things like that, but there's not many places in the league where you can leave like a real legacy. Like Alex Anzalone can leave a legacy here. Yes. They're like, like if you go to the 49ers and so like the Cowboys and, even the Eagles, they're Super Bowl teams before that. They're, but in Detroit, obviously it's, they've struggled for a while, and it's somewhere where you can legitimately have a legacy and always like go back to and be proud of, your time there, depending on what we do and what we've done this past year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like it's just like the storyline's cool. The Dan's awesome, like you said, and everyone kind of knows him now in America and knows what he's about and who he is. But the players we don't have like, we obviously have all pro and, Pro Bowl players, but, they're not like superstars. They're not like Odell, like those types of flashy, I would say more flashy players. So anyways, yeah, it's cool. And the most exciting part is like, moving forward and going into next year and, so on and so forth, is that the pieces that we've been missing, because, we've been missing pieces, and, Brad and Dan are building this a certain way that, that they believe in through the draft and not overstretching themselves in free agency, and, which is obviously sustainable, but it's hard to win now, but we've won. And now we're starting to get into that space of, we're starting to fill all of the pieces that we need, and we're just going for depth. And that's really, like, as a player, to see that is the most exciting part.
Not just a player, freaking captain and leader. Like, dude, it was sick. When I saw you get dinged up in the one game, I text you. I always try to text you after games or when I'm watching. But I saw you go down on the sideline, top of the screen. I'm like, oh no, his shoulder. But it was your ribs.
Yeah.
It was your ribs.
Yeah.
Way worse. God bless.
I can't breathe.
No, it's the worst. Brother, appreciate you. Tell Lindsay we said hi. Thanks for coming on the show. Good luck this season.
All right. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you calling.
All right, buddy. Love you too, man.